Hello everyone, I'm so grateful to Hashem for this opportunity to present you a new Parshah video clip, again on the Torah portion of Vayeira. The theme I'd like to explore with you in this video is a command that God gave to Abraham. We know that Avram had two sons named Ishmael and Yitzchak. Yitzchak with his wife Sarah after many years of childlessness, and he was his father's true spiritual heir who would become the father of the Jewish people. Ishmael did not continue in his father's ways. And Sarah watched the boys as they matured, and she noticed that Ishmael began exhibiting inappropriate behavior. He was a source of negative influence on her son Yitzchak, and she knew something had to be done about this. So she spoke with Avram and said, Ishmael is not going to stand in the way of Yitzchak becoming who he is meant to become. He is a very negative influence. He and Hagar must leave. How could Avram consider this? He is the embodiment of chesed, of loving kindness, and it was his own son after all. But God cleared any doubt from his heart when he said, Kol asher taimar lecha Sarah shema b'kala. Everything that your wife Sarah says to you to do, listen to her voice. Obey her instructions. Trust in her judgment. It will all be well. And so he did as Sarah advised. And the commentaries also teach us that Sarah was superior to Abraham in prophecy. That being said, that foundation being laid, let's go on to the main teaching. For the 40 years that our ancestors traversed the desert until they reached Eretz Yisrael, they were sustained by a well filled with fresh water in the merit of Miriam the prophetess, sister of Moshe and Aaron, and it was so bound up with her life force that when she passed away, it also ceased. What's the connection then between women and water? And to connect this to the theme of the insight, in what way does this connection affirm the judgment of Sarah, or on a greater scale, the Jewish woman? First, let's contrast. What's the difference, really, between water and food? Food, we know, fills us up. It possesses the nutrients. Water has an important role of quenching our thirst. Can't survive without water. But its essential role is to soften the food we consume and allow the nutrients to be effectively and evenly distributed throughout the body, to each limb and organ, so it should function as it should. Physical reality that we observe around us manifests from the upper worlds, from a spiritual prototype, and this itself is created solely for our service of God in this lowliest physical world. What's the spiritual parallel of water, as well as food, and its lesson for our Vayeira? You see, ideas and inspiration must flow into action and be practically applied, as well as develop, expand, and overflow to all areas of our life, even until the results seem distant from the original concept at its entry point in our minds. If the concepts don't transit from the abstract to the tangible, from our minds and even our hearts into action, reaching our limbs to stimulate them, and there's a problem here to be addressed. There's a disconnect, a blockage. The nutrients for a spiritually healthy being aren't reaching their destination to make the required impact. We need to see real-life examples. I'm going to give you a couple now. If we really understood the impact of a mitzvah we perform and how important that mitzvah is to Hashem, we would be running to do mitzvah without hesitation all the time. We have a constant mitzvah to love God. And of course, we can't command an emotion, so this really means to take the necessary steps to develop the emotion. So it starts in my mind. I contemplate how Hashem is the source of my life, how Hashem renews my soul each day because He believes in me to succeed, how God wants a relationship with me in my life, in my world. And that should awaken feelings of love, reflecting feelings of love. And if I love God, that should not just remain within or in the books. it should affect my interactions with other people, my social life. Because if you love someone, you love what they love, then as a result, I should love God's children, whom He loves, whom He created in His image, into whom He invested a spark of Himself. So when I'm interacting with someone, does that perspective help me to respect them, to find value and beauty and goodness in each person? Do I have a desire for connection? And so forth. Or perhaps you have a vision for yourself. And when you keep that vision in mind, the direction you want to go in your daily life, then you'll be able to ensure that all decisions and activities of yours are aligned in that direction, to actualize that goal, to help you make that vision a reality. Food is chachma, it's wisdom, the raw ingredients given, the essentials provided. And this is more the masculine dynamic, the strength of a man. Water is bina, comprehension and understanding, the faculty of breaking down and implementing. This is the feminine dynamic, the light of a woman. We see this at play so often in a Jewish home. Depending on where the man comes from, that might determine the customs the family follows. Ashkenazic or Sephardi, he might instruct and teach. The man sets the standard, but the woman ensures that standard is adhered to because she is the mainstay of the home. She is the one implementing, working with all the details in the children's education and how the home should be run, making it a Jewish, holy, and wholesome home. Avram directed his family in God's ways to perform his mitzvot, but Sarah ensured their fulfillment. And when a dilemma arose, such as the one between Yishmael and Yitzchak, challenging those values in home life and in her child's education, her voice, her discernment and advice ruled. Likewise today, when it comes to the details and the doing, we readily reply upon all Jewish women who are following in our matriarch's footsteps and whose decisions reflect what God wants. Here's a tribute to the mothers and daughters who nurture the Jewish future by making our Judaism and our mission in this world real and relevant. And our children, if we're not yet biological mothers, can also be students or anyone whom we influence. Although this is especially true of women, everyone contains both masculine and feminine dynamics, while one or the other is just predominant. Just like after Miriam's death, God gave forth a new divine energy to restore the well now in her brother's merit. Men can also exercise the feminine dynamic of personal practical application with a little extra effort. And we look at the world around us and we see this is a growing trend. The manna from heaven was in the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu, who taught Israel the Torah. The protective clouds of glory were in merit of Aaron. Miriam, through her gift of water and nurturing, helped the Jews to internalize and live with Moshe's teachings. Before this, Miriam served as a midwife to the Jewish women in Egypt. She was key in raising the generation of children who upon redemption proclaimed, Zeh Keli v'anvehu, this is my God, and I shall glorify him. I see God, I know God, I have a relationship with him. I'm going to reveal him and bring him into my life. We are taught that in the era before Mashiach, the feminine dynamic will be superior to the masculine. B'zchos nashim tzidkaniyos, in the merit of righteous Jewish women, our people was redeemed from Egypt. And again, today, they are leading the way for us to bring heaven down to earth, the ultimate redemption from this final exile, and a world covered with knowledge of God as waters cover the seabed. Mashiach now. Learn incredible leadership tools like the ones that I just shared and more. Come with us to the Jewish Girls Unite Leadership Institute. Visit jewishgirlsunite.com today.